Good morning, Elmira Baptist Church. It is Thursday, December 15th, 2022, and this is our update for the week. Luke 1:46 through 48 is Mary praising the Lord. She has just met her cousin Elizabeth, and Mary says to this, "My soul doth magnify the Lord, and my spirit hath rejoiced in God my Savior, for he hath regarded the low estate of his handmaiden." We're going to take a look at that in our devotional a little bit later on. I want to tell you a joke about Christmas that I hope will encourage you or at least make you laugh. There was a group of Sunday school kids, little ones, and it was around Christmas time. So the teacher said to them, "I want you to draw me a picture about the story of Christmas." And some people, of course, drew Mary and Joseph and little baby in a manger, and others drew the shepherds, angels, and, just kid pictures. But one kid had drawn a picture of an airplane. And in this airplane, you could see a couple of heads sticking out the window, 3 heads sticking out the window, little baby through the window. And the teacher said, what is this picture? What does it have to do with Christmas? And the boy said, "This is Mary. This is Joseph," and he pointed to the little baby, "and this is Jesus. This is their flight to Egypt." And the teacher said, "Yeah, but what's this guy at the front?" He said, "Oh, that's Pontius. He's the pilot." So that's a Christmas joke for you. Maybe I'll tell that one again on Sunday, see how many of you have heard that one before. This Sunday, we are going to be looking at part of the Christmas story, particularly Simeon. This is when Mary and Joseph bring baby Jesus to the temple, and they're met by 2 people, Simeon and Anna. We're just going to pull a small item from that story of Simeon and talk about Christmas consolations. So the story is found in Luke chapter 2, verses 21 through 39. You can read that passage to familiarize yourself with the sermon's passage. And as part of our morning worship, the children are going to present their Christmas program called The First Noel. So you can see already that the big pulpit is gone. There'll be some more decorations up here. There'll be a backdrop behind me. There's some sound equipment. They're getting ready for that. The First Noel. Come Sunday morning, invite someone to join you for the children's pageant. I saw a run-through this past Sunday, and it's always so cute to see these little ones come up and be a part of that. Now in the evening, I want to talk about a topic that just came to my attention recently again, that I'd encourage you to read Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 1, and then we'll look at that topic on Sunday evening. Pray both for Sunday morning worship, for Sunday evening worship, for the Sunday school hour, that God would prepare your heart for what He has for you. And then we'll post the sermon from Sunday morning, Sunday evening to sermon audio, and it should be there on Facebook as well. And good news for those of you that cannot join us regularly, Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we will be live streaming our Evening of Advent, which is a couple of folks that are going to share a Christmas carol or a Christmas hymn, a verse, and some history of that hymn or why that is one of their favorite Christmas hymns. And then we're going to sing those Christmas carols and those Christmas hymns. So that's on December 21st, Wednesday evening. This coming Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, December 17th, we're going to meet here at the church building, and then we're going to go out and do some caroling. If you'd like to join us, we should be done caroling about 5 o'clock. We'll be back here at the church, and we'll have some refreshments. The church will provide some hot chocolate, coffee, hot water so you can make tea. Please, if you join us, bring some snacks or cookies or different things that we can share as part of that fellowship on Saturday. I mentioned Sunday morning is the children's Christmas pageant. And then Saturday, December 24th, is Christmas Eve. So we'll have our candlelight service for Christmas Eve at 7 o'clock in the evening. Our goal is to live stream that. Can't promise, but that's the goal there. And then Sunday, December 25th, Christmas Day falls on a Sunday this year. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to meet at 11 o'clock for our morning worship. No Sunday school, no Sunday evening. No Sunday school so that our teachers don't have that pressure on them. Many of them are going to be meeting with family and focused on their family events of Christmas Day. And then I know Sunday evening I've got guests at my house and plan to be there. So that's what we're going to do on Sunday, December 25th, Christmas Day, just the 11 o'clock worship. And then that Wednesday meeting, we're going to move that to the Saturday following. That'll be our New Year's Eve service. And we're not going to go till midnight. Sometimes we go all the way till midnight with that, but we're going to go from 7 until about 8:30 or 9 in the evening, because I want you to go home, get a good night's sleep. Sunday, January 1st, we'll meet at 9:45 for Sunday school, 11 o'clock for morning worship, and 5 o'clock for evening worship. We want to start the new year with a full day of worship. I hope you'll pray for those that are sick. We still have a lot of people who are ill, and it seems like every day I hear someone else has either become sick or maybe they've been sick for a few days. Sore throats, ear infections. Some people have been diagnosed with COVID at my daughter's work. They're not at work, obviously, but just a lot of illness. So keep praying for each other. Now let's go back to Luke chapter 1 and look at Mary's statement. She said this, "My soul doth magnify the Lord, and my spirit hath rejoiced in God, my Savior, for he hath regarded the low estate of his handmaiden." In one of our Christmas carols, we talk about the mean estate. And as a kid, I remember thinking mean as in angry or harsh, and then estate being something you inherit from someone. And I'm trying to understand, what in the world is this verse about? But mean estate, or in this verse, the low estate, talks about being at a low point in one's life. I mean, things are not going well for Mary. Now, I know, you know the Christmas story. You're thinking, well, yeah, I mean, she has the Holy Child Jesus developing within her. Surely that is an honor without peer. And it is, and she recognizes that. But you have to understand, the people around her didn't know what was going on. Gabriel, the archangel, had appeared to Mary, and he had explained what was going on. But to the people around Mary, it appeared as if she was just another one of those single mothers. And single mothers were not looked upon kindly in Jewish society in the first century. She could tell people what the angel told her, but you can imagine them rolling their eyes and saying, yeah, right, sure. And second, at this point, and the chronology isn't exactly clear, but we know it, at one point Joseph, who is betrothed to Mary, considers putting her away privately. Until, of course, God sends an angel to him and says, hey, I need you to go ahead and marry Mary. And he does. He follows the angel's instructions. But for a while, he's considering ending the betrothal. And Mary, again, we don't know the exact chronology, but my guess is this is one of those points in her life. She doesn't know what's going to happen. She doesn't know whether Joseph is going to go through with the marriage or whether he's going to end the betrothal. I think that's one of the reasons that she went to visit her cousin Elizabeth. There's a lot of uncertainty in Mary's life. Now, we get up and visit people all the time. In fact, we've got folks that are going to leave Oregon and drive all the way down to California, literally hundreds of miles, to visit us for Christmas time, and we think nothing of it. But in these times, Mary's times, to go even 40, 50, 60 miles was a big deal. Number one, not just the travel, but number two, people just didn't travel around the world. They just didn't go to the next state or the next city. You had a community, you had a support group within that community, you had family members there, you knew what was there. You just didn't pick up stakes and leave. But here's Mary, who has gone to visit Elizabeth, because there's just a lot of uncertainty in her life. Now, we know that she's a young lady who is completely trusting the Lord. That was her only hope, because the people around her were not going to be very understanding, and frankly, she was facing the unknown. And finally, her low estate, pregnancy is just difficult. I've never experienced it, but I've talked to ladies who have, and sometimes there's morning sickness, and there's other issues that go along with a pregnancy. And Mary's never experienced this before, and now she's going to experience it for the first time. She says, you've regarded the low estate of your handmaiden, she says to God. And so she rejoices. Now, let's apply that to our lives. I've been at some low points in my life. I'm not there now, but I've been at some low points in my life. And I didn't feel like rejoicing. I didn't feel like glorifying the Lord. In fact, I felt abandoned. I wondered if maybe the Lord had forgotten about me. Or maybe was he busy elsewhere and he'd put my problems off until another time. Mary doesn't have that problem because her trust is in the Lord. She knows who God is, and she's trusting him completely. And even if you're at a low point in your life, you can rejoice in God. You can magnify the Lord because you can know that he sees your low estate. He regards it. He understands it. And he hasn't abandoned you. In fact, it may be, just as in Mary's situation, it was God's plan for her to go through this low point so that she could bear the Christ child. There was no way to get to that point without going through the low point. And so often in our lives, and I've looked back now and see in my own life, where there were definite low points, but the low points were the only path to get me to where God needed me to be. I didn't like the low point. I didn't always understand where the final destination was. But by trusting God and patiently waiting on him and just doing the next thing that I knew I needed to do, God brought me through that low point, brought me to that new destination, and boy, there's such joy and such a sense of God's goodness in that new place. So if Christmas season, or maybe particularly this Christmas season, is difficult for you because of some difficult circumstances in your life, trust the Lord, continue to glorify him, continue to exalt him, and do the next thing that he's asking you to do. Remember that this Sunday is our chance to join together, find some encouragement, share our burdens one with another. I hope that you'll join us for Sunday school at 9:45, morning worship at 11, and Sunday worship, evening worship at 5 o'clock. See you there.